Peace, family, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio. This is your host, Brother Rich, and I'm back with the Professor Griff Zaza Ali. What's happening, y'all?
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Good to have y'all back on the show. Another hot topic, another show. It's kind of interesting. I guess this
Brother Rich.
Yeah.
Brother Rich, hold on. You about to fade off into that first question, man. He's jumping right into it. Normally he say, why don't y'all just let the people know first of all what y'all got going on. He's jumping right. It must be cold in New York.
Oh, no, it is cold up here, yeah.
Oh, but no, we just wanted to say something before we got started. We want to let people know that we're presenting and bringing in Dr. Francis Cress Welsing in a lecture that we're putting together called the Divine Goddess Principle, and that's Saturday, May 23rd at the Southwest Art Center in Atlanta, Georgia, from 2 to 8, man. And then Zaza Ali and Marimba Ani are going to be speaking with us. So it's three powerful sisters that's going to be speaking. I'm going to host it. And then we're honoring Dr. Joy DeGruy, Ava Muhammad, and Amina Matthews, man. So they can't miss that. That's Saturday, May 23rd. They could just give me a call at 678-557-2919. I'm sure you'd like to attend, Brother Rich.
Oh, man.
Take your queen on a vacation down to the ATL. It's going to be nice and warm. Stop along the way and get some pig feet and cotton candy. Hold on for a second, man.
Pig feet, cotton.
Peace, Brother Rich.
Peace.
Real quick, we are having, we started this monthly sale that we're doing in order to do fundraising for several projects that we have going on, including a homeschool curriculum that we are building as well as our website. So every month we are doing a DVD special where we're offering 8 DVDs for $30 flat. That includes shipping, and it's all coming from Griff's enormous DVD library. Is insane, unlike anything I've ever seen before. So it's a lot of, history and relevant information from the master teachers, as well as conspiracy theory, as well as, just everything that's happening on the planet. So if you're interested in that, family, shoot me an email at mindsmatter, mindzmatter@gmail.com. Just shoot me your email, and I'll send you the list. It's only going to last for 7 days from February 10th to February 17th. So after February 17th, don't hit us up about it. You can just hit us up next month for the next sale.
Y'all heard that. I'll let them get on that sale, support everything they got going on. If you in the Atlanta area, I advise you to not miss that lecture. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, Griff. I'm gonna try. I can't say I'm gonna make it, but I'm gonna try. I know Red and Blue Pill. I think they're going down there.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah. I know it's gonna be off the hook, jam packed. Get your tickets early because you don't want to miss out. So yeah. Big ups to that. I'll put the flyer on the screen for the people to see as we're speaking as well. So that's what's up. Moving on to the subject that I wanted to touch on with you guys. Your favorite president, Barack Obama, recently got himself in a lot of, I don't know if you want to call it trouble, but, he's been receiving a lot of backlash lately from the media and from Christians all over this country, in different sources and channels. They've been talking about the speech he made. I guess it was at the National Prayer Breakfast, and Obama decided to start speaking on religion. So what Obama ended up saying was that even though religion is a source for good around the world, there will always be people willing to hijack religion for their own murderous ends. Unless we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place, remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ. In our home country, slavery and Jim Crow all too often was justified in the name of Christ. So, he said this, and, I guess a lot of black people rejoiced, and some black people didn't rejoice. Those, I guess, those that were hardcore Christians, and but the news media outlets started pouncing on them, calling them an extremist, a racist, Islamic terrorist, a radical. Every name you could think of. We got to get this guy out the head of the country. This guy's ruining the country. I mean, they said pretty much everything you could say. Now, it caught me kind of by surprise to hear Obama say something like that. But in general, before we really get into the questions, just to start out with, what are your general, and it raises the questions on religion. So, something that gives us the opportunity to talk about, this religion thing and bring it to the surface. So, what are your general sentiments on what he said and all the backlash that he's received from what he said?
Well, greetings. But let's get something straight just from the rip. First of all the nasty, evil things and ridiculous, some of them being ridiculous, some of them being truthful, all those things that they've been saying and they're saying now, they've always been saying about Barack Obama. So that's nothing new. You can go back and look at the history of just the cartoons they've been drawing about Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. The silly things that they've said about the children. The stupid, idiotic things that both sides of the fence, both Democrat and Republicans, have been saying about Barack Obama. Let's look at when he went overseas, all the racist things that they said about Barack Obama. Let's get it straight. We may not agree with Barack Obama in how he's running a particular country and him not speaking to black people or even looking out for black people. But we do have to respect the fact that he's the head chief in charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is the president of the United States. Let's respect the office if you care anything about order at all. We, meaning you, me, Zaza, and some of the people listening, we already know that he was installed by the CIA into the White House. So that's not even a question. The whole idea of him carrying out the agenda, that's not even a question. The question now becomes, just in general, what do we think about his particular statements? And I'm going to end this. His particular statements that he made in reference to Christianity, as Zaza would say, is spot on.
Yeah, and it's funny because Griff and I were talking about this the other day as far as the impact that he was having on our children. And I was telling Griff that I wrote a piece on my Facebook page one time, and it upset some people. It also made some other people think, because I was talking about the impact that just his presence in the White House was going to have on the minds of our children, and that we needed to be careful about how we spoke about him and handled that situation in the presence of our children. It doesn't mean that, we don't teach our children the true nature of American politics or the true nature of racism or any of that. Yes, we have to keep it 100 with them, but we also have to remember that just his image alone in that position is breaking all kind of mental barriers in the minds of our children, especially young black boys. And the other thing we talked about is that his role right now, yes, we know he's playing, no, he's not running anything. There's a hand underneath the seat that he's sitting in that's controlling everything that he says and does. But it's brought a lot of these racists out in the open. And if you read some of the things that people like Pat Buchanan and what's the other dude's name? Rush Limbaugh. Oh, my goodness. Sean Hannity Combs and Bill O'Reilly. I mean, and not just them, your everyday average, redneck, if you will. I've seen more Confederate flags flying, in traveling around the southern states and whatnot. So it's showing us and reminding us of where we are and the reality of racism in this country. Even the ones who aren't openly, being racist or doing something to oppress our people still have those seeds within them. The other thing I'll say, and then I'll leave it at this, today Barack Obama asked Congress for permission to declare war on ISIS. So, yes, he made the comment a few days ago and opened up the dialogue as far as religion is concerned and bringing Christianity on trial as far as discussing what Christians have done in history pales in comparison to what we're talking about right now as far as ISIS and Islamic terrorists, et cetera. Not to take the importance off of that discussion, but if we really knew and understand what has been done in the name of Christianity, including bringing our people over here in a boat named Jesus, I think that conversation warrants discussion from us. But today, he asked for permission to declare war on ISIS, which is just another front group for the war that they've declared on Islam. And they've declared the war on Islam because they don't have an enemy anymore, as this gentleman so eloquently said on a lecture I was watching the other day.
So, Brother Rich, just basically, so we can kind of lay the foundation for this particular conversation tonight, President Barack Obama stirred outrage with his speech at the prayer breakfast Thursday, the national prayer breakfast. So if they're supposed to be having breakfast and praying, right? No, I'm just being real. Then why does Barack Obama feel it necessary, right, to go into this particular thing, this rant, so to speak, about Christianity? I wish I had my book in front of me, The Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop. When I talk about the Alphabet Boys, and I talk about the 21 goals of the Illuminati. Inside of the 21 goals of the Illuminati, right, it talks about Christian religion being destroyed. So do you think, Brother Rich, that this could be that particular thing, and that thrust to let people know outwardly that they plan on destroying religion? Remember, the New World Order, as Steve Coakley so eloquently put it, that they're bringing about a one-world government, a one-world religion, a one economic system, one political system, one educational system. All right? They're going to blur the lines for the genders. They're going to blur the gender line. They're going to get rid of borders because everyone's going to be chipped. All right? So we have to understand this particular thing. But he said he compared the atrocities committed by ISIS or ISIL to those of Christians in the name of Christ. That is so accurate. But as Zaza said, this pales comparison to what the Christians have done. And I'm going to leave it with this point. I want everybody within the sound of our voice to study Victims of the Christian Faith. Put it in your search engine right now and pull it up. Victims of the Christian Faith. That document tells it all, Brother Rich. It documents all the murderous, wanting murderers and murderers under the banner of the cross and being Christian, how many people that they have murdered.
Why do you think, Professor Griff, Sister Zaza Ali, it seems as though, I watch different media outlets, whether it was Fox News or whether it was the radio, whether it was Rush Limbaugh or, I just watch different sources just to see what their response was and what they had to say about it. It seems that the majority of them are focusing on the part of the speech where he's comparing Christianity to the Crusades and Inquisition, but they really didn't seem to comment on the part of the speech where he deals with Christianity being a heavy influence on slavery in this country in the Jim Crow era. Do you think there's a particular reason they didn't dive into that more current history and chose to accuse them of talking about history that happened over 700 years ago?
Well, yes. I think that, I read an article. I'm glad you said that because Pat Buchanan, he said he was responding to what they said. He said Buchanan also objected to Obama's reference to racial segregation laws during the Jim Crow era during the same speech. To call it Jim Crow, which was a form of segregation of races, to say that was rooted in Christianity, it seems to be an absurdity and injustice. So you notice how he didn't even mention slavery. He just brought up Jim Crow. But the United States, and as well as all the European nations, have to tiptoe around those subjects very, very carefully, because then you start talking about the money that was produced and the wealth that was produced on the backs of slaves all around the world, not just in America, South America had the most Africans that were brought there and put into slavery. So we're talking about global wealth that exceeds any number that we could even think of. 400 or 500 years of people, 450 some odd years of people working for free and building nations for Europeans and putting the global elite, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, in a position where they are now ruling the world. So that's why they want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it, and they don't ever talk about it, because if we really realize the fact that not only did they steal our knowledge, our history, our information, and use that to build a world, but they also turned around and used our people and free labor in order to build a world at the same time. And, it's also interesting that, the whole concept of manifest destiny, that was a term that was coined by Christians.
Right.
That God gave European white people, particularly white males, the obligation and the responsibility to go into all of these different lands where the indigenous people were and conquer them. So 90 million Native Americans were completely wiped off of the face of the United States. 90 million. That's not even mentioned in the documents that talks about the Crusades, and Barack Obama didn't even mention that. They can never talk about those type of numbers, because not only does it turn the conversation into, well, what do you owe them, but it also shows you how savage and wicked the people are that we're dealing with. Not just the ones who enslaved our people, but the ones now who are denying the fact that, okay, that was then, this is now, we don't owe you anything. They're just as savage. The ones who control the academia and the school systems that are now saying we don't want to have black studies anymore, and reprimanding teachers for teaching black studies in Black History Month, for trying to water down and simplify slavery and saying, well, it wasn't really that bad. Black people, they had a roof over their head and food on their table. So, in a way it was best for them. And I had a sister tell me slavery was good for us because it brought us to Christianity. So when we talk about the mental and spiritual and emotional slavery that we went through and are still experiencing to this day, they could never repay us for what they've done to us. But eventually the check is going to have to come due.
As Zaza says, man, cut the check. Not only cut the check. When you look at the term reparations, inside of the word, is repair. You have to repair the damage, as Minister Farrakhan so eloquently said or put it. We have to repair the damage that was done to not only the people here, our people here in the hells and the wilderness of North America, but throughout the black African diaspora, especially Brazil and other places with a high concentration of black people. We have to repair the damage. And then I think it was what's the black website? BlackAtlanta.com.
Black Agenda Report?
Yeah,
it's a Black Agenda Report, and it's a Black Atlanta, I think.
Atlantic Black Star.
Right, Atlantic Black Star, exactly. Yeah. They go over the 15 corporations that have benefited from slavery and was built on slavery. Atlantic Black Star. I have it in my lecture. And you would be surprised, the insurance companies and all of these kind of people that built their companies off of free slave labor. So Zaza was absolutely correct. When they start mentioning that at the goddamn prayer breakfast club, you understand what I'm saying? Then it poses a problem. This little tiddling of the stuff that he mentioned is nothing. This is a daily conversation between us on what the Christians did during the Crusades. As a matter of fact, Brother Rich, 80% of the people that are listening to us that are Christians have never even read what they did in the Crusades. Don't even know what the Crusades are. So let's get that straight. And as a matter of fact, if you're listening to this, pause the damn computer and go find out what the Crusades are, and then pick up where we left off.
And know and understand as a Christian that the Rome and the Catholic Church is the head of your religious foundation. So, our people, say, well, I'm Baptist or I'm Episcopalian or I'm, whatever denomination that they claim. But know and understand that the Catholic Church and those demons over there in Rome are sitting at the head of every Christian entity around the world. And the Pope and the Catholic Church actually sanctioned Christianity. How do you think that they became the most wealthy entity? The Vatican. That's slave money. That's blood money that they're sitting on. So, yeah, if you're a Christian and you haven't delved into that whole Catholic history and studying who the Pope of Rome is or was at the time when they gave the pass for slavery, what the Council of Nicaea was that actually split the whole, took the father, son, and child aspect of Asar, Aset, and Heru, which is from Kemet, which is in Africa, and flipped that over and turned it into Mary and Jesus, and then flipped it over and turned it into the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, completely taking the woman out of the whole equation, then you need to really sit back and before you put that cross on again, you got some homework to do.
One last thing on that, Brother Rich. The whole idea of Barack Obama saying that no God condones terror. Wait a minute. Did they not come pick us up, as Zaza said earlier, in a ship called the Good Ship Jesus, the Holy Mary and the Grace of God? Did Napoleon not take the cross and hold it in the air and basically say, in this sign we shall conquer? In the name of religion? Is the Ku Klux Klan not a religious organization? So no, God condones terror is not the United States government right now perpetuating a perpetual war, pardon me, this campaign called the War on Terror, the War on Terrorism, that Schwarzkopf, one of them characters, said, that Rumsfeld said it, that this is a perpetual war. It may last forever. That goes right in line with who these people are. Ever since they've been on the planet, they've been at war, not only with us, but with nature and with themselves. So they speak with forked tongue, as the Native Americans say. So let me give the people a homework assignment. Look up top 10 atrocities committed in the name of religion. Top 10 atrocities committed in the name of religion. And the Crusades are the first one you'll read about.
Wow, that was deep. Comparing Islam, to Christianity, and I'm just thinking about from my personal experience, what is it about Islam that seems to make black people more sort of militant, and Christianity seems to make them more passive? But when I see the white Christians, as you just noted through that, what you and Zaza just dropped, it ain't make them passive at all. They were doing what they had to do in the name of Christianity. Right. But why is it that Christianity sort of made us so passive, it seems, just from my personal experience, but Islam kind of wakes up a militancy in us? What is that about?
Well, you know something, Brother Bitch? I've heard Tanetta Muhammad and Sister Ava Muhammad, and I believe it was Donna Muhammad, that was dropping it, basically letting us know that the Christianity that we received via the slave master's children on the plantation was not Christianity at all. It was the white man's Christianity, how they concocted a religion and only gave us certain scriptures that we could teach. So that became the religion. Turn the other cheek. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. As Malcolm said, as long as they've been doing it, they're experts at it. So they gave us a Christianity that didn't speak to the souls of black folks. So it was safe to teach that kind of Christianity. If we taught anything outside the context of what they gave us to teach, we would get lynched or castrated or beat almost to death. So we had to submit to those particular scriptures, and we could only teach what they instructed us to teach. But when some of those brothers like Nat Turner got a hold of the Bible, when Harriet Tubman and other brothers and sisters got a hold of the Bible, they turned it into a revolutionary book and brought the militancy out of the black man and woman. What was the particular philosophy and ideology Reverend Wright said he taught from? It'll come to me in a minute. Because when we started fusing the concepts that we were allowed to teach from the Bible with African concepts, then it became African Methodist Church or the African Episcopalian whatever or the African whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So we had to take what we knew, what was in our spirit, in our soul, and hide it in the white man's religion called Christianity. Mind you, the white man stole our spiritual concepts from Africa to concoct this religion called Christianity. So we heard some of the things that was familiar with us, but guess what, Brother Rich? They robbed us of a name, language, culture, and a God. And then they reintroduced us to a God that looked like them. So we wouldn't rebel against that God. All right, so that's a very real dynamic that we were faced with, Brother Rich. But Islam, it's something about Islam that speaks to the soul of black people to the point where we're ready to defend that which we know is 100% right and exact. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have some zealots and some dogmatic people out there that even come at me and Zaza all crooked and crazy. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm a quote Professor Smalls by saying too many black Africans have died at the feet of the cross and died at the feet of the Star and Crescent.
You know, anytime you have, let's just remind ourselves that Christianity during slavery was used to pacify our people. So we are still pacified in many regards by Christianity. And I think the whole idea of having a white Jesus on the wall, I tell people all the time, like, if you got a white Jesus on the wall, like, you are so far behind the times as far as the knowledge and the understanding that has been brought to us by Christians, by, you know, you got brothers like, what's his name, Willie Wright? We have Barashango, who have taught a black theology as far as Christianity is concerned, that you could at least have a black Jesus on your wall. So if you still bowing down and praying to a white man that never actually existed, then he is your God. Elijah Muhammad said, you've been walking around looking for a God to bow down to. You are the God. And that's part of the teachings of Elijah Muhammad that tapped into the soul and into the essence of the manhood in our men and made them stand up straight and reclaim that history, that militancy that's always been with our people. You look at, you know, Shaka Zulu and Hannibal in Carthage and a lot of the great warriors that have graced this continent. It's always been a militant factor and warrior coming out of the black man all around the planet. But again, Christianity came along and it seeped out a lot of that manhood and that strength and that warrior spirit that's always been in our brothers. You know, we can't forsake the power and the prowess of Elijah Muhammad and what he brought to the black man and woman and the FOI and that whole militant aspect. And then, of course, it split off into the Bilalians. You know, you had the brothers who still were connected to the Nation of Islam but wanted to go more into an Orthodox Islam. And then Sufism, which is straight from Africa. We get a lot of, you know, Pan-African brothers and sisters who are just totally anti-religion, which now is a new religion, being anti-religion, but who say that, you know, Islam is a white Arab religion. No, Islam is naturally in its concepts. We're not talking about what it has become and morphed into today. We're talking about the concepts and the precepts. It comes straight out of Africa. It comes straight out of the essence of the Creator, and it goes right along with the other scriptures. So when we talk about Sufism, when we talk about the Moors in Spain, 700 years they went into Europe and shut it down to the point where not only did they conquer the land, but then they civilized the people. They brought knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to that area of the world. So what was that? The Moors. What was it that tapped into them that sparked that warrior inside of them and that also emphasized knowledge and emphasized study? Because that's what we don't talk about. We talk about the Moors and, okay, they were black, Islam, but we don't talk about the emphasis that they actually placed in study. So it's a culmination of placing emphasis on knowledge, and it's that pride in being a black man, knowing that you've been public enemy number one, and then flipping that and turning that into that militant Muhammad, you know, and Malcolm X, when the Nation of Islam was prominent, not just in the United States but around the world.
And then we seen that same fire in Minister Louis Farrakhan that let people know that first resurrection. Matter of fact, when the nation was under Farad Muhammad in the early days, then Elijah Muhammad, and then Minister Louis Farrakhan, you still see that radical, militant kind of element that's still there. You understand what I'm saying? So it hasn't gone. It's just that the enemy knew that, and the enemy waged a war against Islam, as Zaza said, and they're still waging that war. Now they created a terrorist organization called ISIS, like they manufactured and created the other ones. Right, Boko Haram, Al Qaeda, and the rest of them. Turned the Taliban, which actually means professor and teacher, and turned them into a terrorist organization. Next, the goddamn Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts going to be terrorist organizations, delivering goddamn Girl Scout cookies. You can't even do that nowadays. But I'm saying the militancy is still there. So they create these terrorist organizations. Now they're turning around to put boots on the ground to fight a terrorist organization that they created in the first damn place. If that's not the Hegelian dialectic principle, what is?
Now, some people feel as though religion should be obliterated completely, like you said.
Obliterated?
Just completely gotten rid of.
Okay.
All religions, all religious systems. They feel as though, they're all, the same religion is the opium of the masses.
Right.
So there's a group of people that feel like, all religion needs to be taken out of the equation. Then there's another group of people that feel as though, I hear what you're saying, Griff, I hear what you're saying, Zaza, but man, if we ain't have religion, people will be committing a whole lot more crimes. It'll be real crazy out here in these streets. The fact that we teach people that if you do this, you might go to hell, or the fact that we teach people about karma, or you could get your ticket to heaven, it sort of controls them in a sense. It calms them down and makes them behave in a moral manner. But you can't just they hear what you're saying, because it's like, some people get what they call consciousness or knowledge of self, and they like, man, fuck religion. But you can't just take it away from people, because we'll be living in a crazy world. People will be doing all types of crazy acts because they feel like there's no punishment at the end of the day. So being that there's two sides, what side are you leaning toward, if you're leaning toward any side at all, Professor Griff, Zaza?
Well, I think I should have let Zaza answer that question first, because I don't do religion. But I feel religion is very necessary for some people. Some people need more than religion. Some people have religion and still mass murderers and killers and thieves and rapists. So I'm not sure if this particular religion is powerful enough to control the madness and the sick-minded, spiritual-minded people that's roaming this planet. Do you understand what I'm saying? I heard Mr. Farrakhan say if Jesus came back tomorrow, he'd have to have something a little bit more powerful than what the hell he was teaching to deal with this crack of the day. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if religion is working, number one, Brother Rich. I don't prescribe to any religion. There's some principles that we live by that's operating in the divine order. And as we pull from the divine intelligence, we pull from the God self, we always say that I am, because we are, therefore I am. There ain't no big I and little you. There's certain things that we live by that we set in motion. So what better way to guide the self other than to tap into the self, to tap into those things that can guide the self? Because at the end of the day, it's the self that's going to control you anyway. No outside force. You mentioned the fact that no outside force is going to control you. You mentioned a few seconds ago about religion. If we didn't have religion, some people feel that there's no punishment at the end of the day. Well, there's no punishment at the end of the day. They just said on Democracy Now!, I heard it today, they did a study on the lynchings of black people that was never reported. And it's thousands upon thousands of our people that were lynched. Right on up to 1950, Brother Rich, these were Christians lynching people. Go look at the faces of those people in the book Without Sanctuary. Burning black bodies and cutting off penises and ears and noses to keep them as souvenirs. These were Christians doing this. So when we talk about having a religion, that religion didn't check them. They would go to church, leave church, and go lynch some black people. So I'm not sure, Brother Rich, if the religion thing is going to keep some of these people in check. What religion was Darren Wilson that shot down Mike Brown? What religion was them 6 cracker officers that choked Eric Garner to death? What religion were they? Did their religion keep them in check from killing a black man? I think not, Brother Rich.
Well, Ishaka Musa Barashengo talked about the fact that all of the major religions are rooted in African spirituality. And he said that we shouldn't throw the books away, but we should go back to the truest essence of what they meant for us as people. So he talked about spirituality versus religion and said that religion is just a guide to place you back on the path of righteousness. Some of us need the guide, and we can't front like Islam in particular, and I'm talking about be it Orthodox or be it Bilalian, be it Nation of Islam. Some of the most civilized and honest brothers and sisters that I have met have been Muslims. And Amina Matthews, the sister who we are honoring on May 23rd in Atlanta, that sister's a Muslim, and she is a warrior. So for us to just discount the impact that it's had on our people, I don't really think that's wise. And I don't do bashing people based on religion, but we have to check ourselves as far as being brainwashed and being manipulated by religion. Now, do I ascribe to religion? No. I ascribe to the best part of all of the religions. I ascribe to the best part of the Bible, of the Quran, of the 42 laws of Ma'at, of the ancient scrolls. I am a Quran. You know what I'm saying? I am a Bible. So I think that the most important study that we as a people can do is to put the books down for a minute and start studying ourselves. Start meditating. Start fasting. Some of us pick the Bible up because we can't quiet the noises in our heads. So, it's just an idea of knowing that you, as your own, as Taneta Muhammad said, you are the most important person. Outside of you, what is there? The prophets and the scriptures and whatnot, whether they lived or not, these were just guides placed on our path in order to get us back to righteousness. You want to, learn, look at the Phil Valentines and the Amos Wilsons and the Francis Cress Welsings and Minister Farrakhan. We have all of these great teachers who have given us spiritual concepts and ancient concepts that can bring us back to our divine selves. But the ultimate goal has to be God. Not to sit at the feet of a prophet who lived 2,000 years ago, not to sit at the feet of history that existed 5, 6, 7,000 years ago, and you living in ancient Kemet in your mind and suffering in 2015 in reality. So it has to be all of these different principles, all of these ideas have to eventually lead us back into elevating ourselves into becoming gods.
Again.
No, go on.
A common problem that people have throughout the years, just not recently for the interview, but this is just something I've noticed come up throughout the years constantly, is that, once again, you have this word knowledge itself, and people, they start reading books and they start studying the history of Christianity or Islam or ancient Kemet or Osiris or whatever the case may be. They just start studying history. And they learn some things that they didn't know and that the church wasn't teaching them. or that the mosque wasn't teaching them. And they immediately go home and try to school their family. Try to tell their mother, try to tell their father, their cousins, whoever's there to try to tell, because they feel as though, you know, I learned something. I learned something that I feel is the truth, and that is awakening and raising my conscious level. So I want to do the same for you.
Right.
Now, I was taught by certain teachers in the past have taught me that it's disrespectful to go home to your mother and try and tell her after she done raised you her whole life, and you get up 20 years old, 21, however old you are, when you quote unquote wake up, that Christianity ain't shit. Mom, Christianity is this, or it came from ancient Kemet, and you try to. They told me it was wrong to try to convince your mother, whoever raised you, that their way of raising you was wrong, and you found this new way, so now they should abandon the old way. Now it gets a little confusing because I can see in a way what they're talking about, but in another way you're like, damn, well, I just want to awaken them. I just want to show them that, I've elevated, and I want them to elevate as well. So do you agree with what I may have been taught from certain teachers as far as it being disrespectful to try to go and teach your mother or whoever that they were wrong from teaching you about Christianity or whatever religion that you was raised in?
No, I mean, my thing is, I'm an advocate of that. I tell people all the time, and Zaza hear me on the phone. I say, man, leave your grandmother alone, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Leave your moms alone. They had to do what they had to do to get us to this point. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, if they called on the African deity, they would get lynched. If they use their mother tongue, if they said Hotep, you understand what I'm saying? Assalamu alaikum, or spoke any of the 1,000 different dialects that are on the African continent. They brought that stuff to America, and the white slave trader, the master, heard that. The cracker that cracked the whip heard that. Oh, they were getting lynched or getting burned alive or chopped up or something. You understand what I'm saying? So our people did what we had to do. We're at this point right now. Don't turn around now just because you're a YouTube scholar and you heard a few things on a DVD somewhere. You want to turn around and beat grandma upside the head with your newfound information. Right, exactly. Brother got a half an X and a goddamn pathetic name of grandma.
Oh, man.
You understand what I'm saying? So, no, man, take that energy, man, and do something else with it. But leave mom and leave granddad and grandma alone. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Let them have that, man, because you're not going to convince them. Now they're 80, 90 years old. You're not convincing them. Plain and simple. I think my grandmom used to carry a picture of Jesus in a little purse. I'm like, leave grandmom alone, man. Yeah, I wouldn't bother them with that. And like I said, I'm an advocate of that. These brothers now are coming up and coming back at mom and dad and their grandparents. That's not cool. I don't care what newfound information you done discovered. Of course, you want to humble yourself because you want to give this information to your auntie or your little sister or your cousin, and you want them to know what you know. You understand what I'm saying? And I always say this, and Zaza always hear me say this, every blade of grass doesn't grow at the same rate of speed, Brother Rich. People are going to grow in their own time. And I'm saying that, because this conversation is about Barack Obama and what he said in reference to Christians. But even with Barack Obama, and I'm humbling myself to say this, that Barack Obama, he served as the doorway to some people's consciousness. We have to agree to that.
Right.
Some people don't even know that they goddamn Black History Month, right or wrong. So will we knock Carter G. Woodson upside the head for giving us Negro History Week? Nope. It morphed into Black History Month, right or wrong, which we still celebrate today. Well, it's hard to celebrate it because talking to Zaza today, every damn weekend they got some Grammys or the football Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff happening in Black History Month to distract us. But anyway.
Well, Brother Rich, to me, I agree with everything Griff said. I think I see the divide between the generations. And I think that we as a people, I think a lot of us get haughty when we get a little bit of knowledge and in our immature ways, because we don't really have the full concept of history and what our grandmothers and grandfathers and mothers and fathers went through. We want to try and teach them. What I do think is that we can use this conversation and use this information to kind of bridge the gap and get wisdom from our elders and from our elders. Marcus Garvey was a Christian. And how many brothers and sisters right now are carrying a red, black, and green flag and standing on the platform that Marcus Garvey built and banging on Christianity?
Yeah.
Marcus Garvey was a great, great man, and he was a Christian. So there's a lesson in that for us. So this is why Elijah Muhammad talked about, he called the Bible the poison book, but he also said know it. He says study it, because that's how we're going to get our people, by going into the book and proving. We can even use it depending on the situation. Mom and dad, there's probably an opening to go in. Grandma, not so much. But going in and proving the hypocrisy, looking at it, start thinking realistically. The word Christianity is not even in the book. But you call yourself a Christian.
And Jesus never called himself a Christian.
Jesus never called himself a Christian. So you celebrating Christmas, but it specifically tells you in the book that you should not be celebrating Christmas. I mean, even talks about the Christmas tree down to a T. The paganism, the worshiping of false idols. We got brothers and sisters going to church every Sunday now talking about homosexuality. We shouldn't be, homosexuality is acceptable now. We should give gay people the right to vote. Well, that's not what they said in Sodom and Gomorrah. So I do think that we, especially those of us with knowledge of self, can use the Bible as a teaching tool for our people, for our grandmothers, and then settle on the best part. Let's study the Bible together. That way we ain't saying throwing away. We just saying let's use common sense and be realistic about what it is that we're worshiping or studying.
Isn't that critical, Brother Rich, that the enemies of Jesus called Jesus a Christian at Antioch? Says that in the scripture. Right. Now we have all these Christians calling themselves Christians. Like, man, Brother Rich, I used to carry around the victims of the Christian faith, and when I read that the pagan services became punishable by death in 356, punishable by death. And then to turn around to see Christians worshiping and celebrating pagan holidays, isn't something wrong with that, Brother Rich?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
That's critical. Anyway.
One last question, y'all, before we wrap it up. Dealing with this whole, and it was a great conversation, dealing with this whole conversation of religion and our people and Islam and Christianity and, the hidden history of these religions. We've been through a lot as a people in this experience here in the last, 500 years or whatever. We know how critical it is as far as the black family unit just being completely, I want to say completely destroyed, because you can't completely destroy it, But it's been hurt real bad from numerous things, and we've talked about numerous topics throughout the past 12 months about how they continue to use different things to attack the black family structure. One thing I noticed is that, what do you guys think about? I'm trying to figure out how to formulate this question. There's there's a lot of brothers out here looking for sisters, right? And there's a lot of sisters out here looking for brothers, and they're saying, well, damn, I can't find nobody good. And there's a list of reasons that we done went throughout the year, whether it's the homosexuality or whether it's, just all types of stuff. But to add to the list, it seems as though religion is on the list as well, where a Christian sister, after all the things that she got to worry about, now she got to meet a Christian man. So she got to X out all the conscious brothers. She got to X out all the brothers with Islam. She got to X out all the Hebrew Israelite brothers. She got a whole nother list to X out brothers and vice versa with the brothers. If he's conscious, oh, shit, I can't. Oh, sister's nice. She's beautiful. She's intelligent. She got a good heart, but she's a Christian. I got to X her out. I can't do this. Do you think religion kind of holds us back as a people from redeveloping this family unit that we're trying to, that we're trying to build back up? Because it makes us get stuck in this particular box where you got to find somebody that believes that calls God the same name you call that God, or believes the same belief system that you believe, or is that just human nature to be with somebody that believes in the same thing as you?
Well, I always say, if you look up these terms that we use, if we look up belief, the belief is not based on fact. Faith is not based on facts. So when you hear Christians talking about being evenly yoked, how far back do you want to go to become evenly yoked? I sat at a lecture with Brother Kava. I brought him to Baltimore to speak, and he gave us a beautiful analogy of the slingshot. When you pick up the slingshot and you put a rock in the slingshot, the rock is natural from the earth. You understand what I'm saying? You pull that slingshot back as far as you want it to propel forward. Right?
Right.
Then plus you have to aim it. Mm-hmm. But how far do we have to go back to determine whether or not we're evenly yoked? And that concept alone, based on the principles, the belief, and the idea of being evenly yoked in a religion that was forced on us by our slave masters' children, that's a hell of a thing, man. That's a hell of a thing. You mean to tell me if I met a Christian woman tomorrow, she wouldn't date me because I don't call on the same God she call on, and I don't celebrate the white pagan holiday with the fat white dude sliding down the chimney and the Easter bunny and the tooth fairy and the rest of that madness? That's sick. What about the qualities that the Creator deposited in Griff? You can't look at that? We can't look at the other things that we're made up of, other than the fact that I don't go to church on Sunday? Sunday's not even the day you're supposed to be going to church. So if we really look at these things and we talk about we're evenly yoked, I think a lot of us need to strip all the madness down, forget all the labels, and deal with the bare essence of who the individuals are. Symbolism without substance is what we're dealing with today. We see a lot of brothers dressing up in religion, dressing up in consciousness, dressing up in spirituality. When you strip all that away, what kind of man are you? When's the last time you did something for someone other than yourself without you trying to benefit from it? What about the basic stuff that we're supposed to do for one another? Strip away the fact that Griff is militant, radical, semi-intelligent, courageous and all that other kind of matters. What kind of person am I every single day at home? You understand what I'm saying? For who, and deal with us for who and what we really are.
Symbolism without substance, you said.
Yes, sir. I think that was very, very, very well said.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would add, we were riding in the car maybe today, and I was looking at the trees, and I pointed out to him that every tree has literally thousands of branches. And, of course, I can see it here because the leaves fall off the trees here, so all of the branches are bare. There's thousands of branches on one tree, and no one tree is exactly like the other one. And it brought me back to think about what Barashango said when he was talking about black facts in the Bible. He said there is absolutely no reason for black people to be arguing over religion. When we understand the depth and the intricacy and the beauty of who we are as a people and the beauty of the planet, if you just sat back and looked at certain birds and certain flowers, the intricacy in a pineapple, the pattern that is consistent in every single pineapple that is grown around the world. And we as a people are sitting back actually arguing over tools that are supposed to be guiding us towards a higher level of consciousness. It's foolish. So I say find common ground. If you eat pork, we can't talk. If you smoke cigarettes, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that is just like, I can't really look past that. So it's the idea of having common ground, being what you want to attract. The law of attraction is real, and it's happening constantly. And I think if we could stress anything on our people, opposed to focusing on religion, the scriptures, is understanding the power that you have as a sovereign being in your mind and what you put out into the universe with your thoughts, with your actions. You got sisters sitting back saying, it ain't no good men out here, it ain't no good men out here, and they keep running into dogs. Well, if you start internalizing how beautiful you are as a woman and how divine and just special that you are as your own individual person and enjoying your life, enjoying yourself, being grateful for every single moment, I guarantee you that you will attract the type of man that you need in your life and deserve. Christian, Muslim, Hebrew, Israelite, nation of gods and earth, whatever. He's going to be attracted to you because you are giving off what you want to be, to be manifested in your life. So stop focusing. We thinking about the wrong things. We got all these websites now, ChristianMingle.com. You waiting on God and God is waiting on you. But who's the God if you created a website to bring Christians together? It brings us back to white Jesus and the Europeans actually having control in our relationships now. So it's just you understanding the beauty and the power and the essence of who you are as an individual. You can take that and attract whatever you need, man, woman, job, career, business, all of that. We have to take back the power of who we are as the original people of this planet and start bringing into our realities what we deserve.
Indeed. Very well said. And on that note, I want to conclude the show. But before we do, as always, I want to give you the opportunity to tell the people, once again, repetition is key. So just like y'all did at the beginning of the show, if people missed it, let the people know once again what you got going on, how they could contact you.
Oh, okay. Well, just to let the people know that the Warriors Conference has moved from Miami to Tampa. We just want people to know that. That's Saturday, February 28th, 2015. It's at the Genesis Sports Bar and Grill. That's at 1213 West Waters Avenue, Tampa, Florida. And as you know, the first Warriors Conference was off the chain in the ATL, man. This one's going to be in Tampa, Florida, February 28th. That's Saturday, February 28th. Myself, Professor Griff Zaza Ali, Irritated Genie, Mama Marimba Ani, and Malamu Cable Mani Barudi. And as you know, Precise Science is performing Tahir Abidji and African Insurrection music. The Ankh is going to host. Let me just give the people a phone number, man. 612-567-3263. That's 612-567-3263 is the number to call if they want further information. But if you want to reach me, Professor Griff, give me a call at 678-557-2919. Or just hit us up on Facebook at Enemy Minds Radio on Facebook. All right, hold on.
Griff and Professor Small are going to be in Atlanta this Saturday, February 14th, doing the God Essence Part 2. That is at Vickers. The address is 838 Cascade Avenue, Southwest. I will be in the building serving as his assistant. But that is this Saturday, February 14th. You can call Griff 678-557-2919 for more information.
This is Brother Rich, y'all, Underground Railroad Radio. Check out the website, undergroundrailroadnet.com. Till next time, we signing out, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.